Hello and welcome to the season 2, episode 4 of Point of View, a series of leadership discussions by amazing workplaces. We sincerely believe that no workplace can become amazing without the people who lead and show the way and who relentlessly work on the various aspects of creating happy and productive workplaces. They are the real leaders, not just in title, but in the true sense of the word. Through Point of View series, I'm getting into a discussion with these leaders from various organizations spread across India as well as across borders. The idea is to get into conversation with them, to get them to share their views about the various aspects that make organizations really amazing. The purpose is to understand what drives leaders to their own workplaces so that we can delve deeper into the corporate philosophy and share with you path breaking ideas. Ideas that come straight from people who have gone ahead and changed their workplace to make them better, more inviting, and extremely thriving for their own people. Our guest on the show today is Kanika Mittal, Head of Sales at Twitter. Kanika is someone who is an evangelist for businesses that are built on purpose and passion and advocates both these principles through her work and outreach. Kanika is currently the business head for Twitter India. She is leading revenue and brand solutions across multiple industry verticals. During her tenure, she has landed a strong positioning for Twitter with brands centered around purpose and innovation and has helped in diversifying and growing the business in a sustainable and scalable fashion. At Twitter, she drives impact across the 4 P's: purpose, people, profit, and presence, and has helped put Twitter on the map with both internal and external stakeholders. On the personal front, encouraging young kids to read is Kanika's biggest passion. She is the founder of Dear India. She is also the curator of the Enchanted Festival of Stories, a for the children and by the children unique story festival designed to draw the kids into the power of stories. Kanika also runs a well meaning, bespoke mentorship program for young working mothers called The Streak. This is our own little way of encouraging and supporting women during the toughest chapter of their careers. Kanika has also been recognized as top 50 brand leaders in Asia. She has been felicitated at the Women Economic Forum and has won Effie's, Clio's, and similar other recognitions for her work. So let's welcome Kanika to Point of View. Hello, Kanika. How are you doing? It's a pleasure to have you on our show today.
Thanks, Ekta. Thank you for having me here. And personally, I love the work that you drive with amazing workplaces. I think it's much needed. You give very good insights into what can make organization culture great and what can make organizations really, really aspirational when it comes to designing and executing workplaces that matter. So thank you for having me and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Kanika. Thank you for your kind words. And, I've been really trying to have this conversation with you for such a long time. And I'm really glad that finally we could, actually make it today.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so Kanika, I've read a lot about you. I've seen a lot of things that you do through your profile. And even in the introduction, I mentioned a couple of things. So you're actually someone who dreams about brands and wakes up to them through a transformational journey in terms of positioning and revenue. So Kanika, what is it that drives you to give your best every day?
I think it's like that old saying, right? Like if you find something that you love and you're doing it every day, then you're not really working every day. And for me, I've been very fortunate that at a very early stage in my life, I was able to identify what is it that I really love doing, what is it that I'm passionate about, and then make a career out of it. So, I mean, as early as class 11 and 12, I kind of knew that I wanted to be in the marketing field. And then I kind of spent my college and my post graduation just making sure that I'm equipping myself with the right knowledge and the skill sets to land there. And then once I landed in that domain, since day one, I've really been enjoying it. Whether it was my time with Tata Teleservices early in my career, or my 11 years with the Adidas Group, where in the last 5 years I was heading marketing for Reebok. So I think to answer your question, what really drives me every day is that I genuinely love what I do. And I think the trick here is to quickly identify what is it that you're passionate about and try and make a career out of it. And then just make sure that you stay on top of your field by continuously learning, unlearning, and subjecting yourself to new experiences, and then sharing those in whatever way you can.
Okay, thank you. That was so, you put it in such a crisp manner. Like, and it's actually true that if we love what we do, I think nothing can stop us from doing our best. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think what also happens is that over a period of time, your passion takes different forms. So while I wore the marketing hat at Reebok, and then I'm wearing the revenue hat at Twitter, but simultaneously in my personal life, I'm able to bring these two aspects together and run programs like, for example, the Enchanted Festival that you spoke about is actually one of the most unique festivals for children that exist in the country. It's for the children, by the children, and it's actually meant to inspire them to read, but also get parents to commit to making their children better readers. And I think in the post-pandemic era, when kids are so much more, engaged on the screen, it's so important to give them something to read and get them to break free from the screen and really spark their imagination. And the reason I'm able to find time to do these kind of programs, despite being a full-time working mother, is again purely coming down to passion, and some, of course, it takes some degree of structured thinking and multitasking as well. But I think at the heart of it, it's all about loving what you do.
Very interesting. In fact, your passion actually shows in the kind of work and the diversified kind of interests that you have. So right from children to working for women and mentoring startups, I think you're involved in so many creative things in your life. So great, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, now Kanika, tell me one thing. In your current organization, you drive impact across the 4 P's: purpose, people, profit, and presence. So personally, how would you rate these 4 P's in the order of the importance, and why do you feel you're rating them in that particular order?
Yeah. That's a tough one, Ekta. I think for sure the number one would be people. I think people make organizations, people drive results, and nothing can really happen till your talent is right and it's motivated and it's going in the right direction. So I would say people is number one. And then I think it's hard to rank the two, the remaining three, but I think what I can tell you is that purpose is a very key differentiator today. In fact, our research at Twitter also shows that cultural relevance is now the number 3 deciding factor for consumers when it comes to figuring out what they want to buy, what they want to purchase, which was not the case earlier. So the fact that it is so important to be culturally relevant, it's so important to be purpose driven. It's kind of now become a very critical cog in the wheel. And that's what will eventually then lead to profit, and it will eventually lead to the other P's that are important. But I think one fundamental change that has happened in the way the traditional 4 P's of marketing used to be and the way marketing is now is that purpose has definitely been elevated to the next level altogether. And I think it flows not just from an organization or from a point of view of vision and philosophy, but also at an individual level, where I think that if every individual, every professional starts thinking like, what's my purpose beyond the day job that I do, it'll start making a huge difference in the output that you're able to drive.
Okay, interesting. So tell me, Kanika, talking about purpose, how do you feel an individual can understand what his purpose is? There's a lot of talk about finding your purpose, but how do you find that purpose?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ekta. And while you ask it, I must tell you, I have like this absolute bombardment of different images and movies and books that are happening in my mind. But I think it just boils down to, if I may answer you in a single word, it just boils down to self-discovery, which is so important, and it's such a beautiful journey in any individual's life. So whether we talk about movies like Wake Up Sid, for example, which is such a beautiful movie of self-discovery, or Queen, which was helmed by Kangana Ranaut, who incidentally was also Reebok brand ambassador during my time there, and I kind of very fond memories of working with her. So whether it's movies like that, or whether it is books, for example, there's a beautiful book called 40 Rules of Love, and it's all about Sufism, and it kind of brings together the whole story of Rumi, the Persian philosopher, and his partner, a philosopher and guide who goes by the name of Shams. Their journey together, and how their journey years and centuries ago actually influences a modern 40-year-old housewife in New York, is absolutely inspirational, and really it's about self-discovery and giving this central character of the book, this 40-year-old woman, a sense of purpose in her life and kind of redefining it. And of course, I think interactions with your friends and families, or maybe those moments in life where you actually take a step back and reflect, can also help you find your purpose. But I think it starts with self-discovery. It starts with putting yourself through experiences, consuming books, consuming movies, literature, and spending time with friends and families in such a way that you are self-reflecting. You're reflecting by the end of it, and you're not just caught up in the materialism, and you're not just caught up in the day-to-day fun, but you're taking that time to reflect and maybe discovering yourself better, and therefore discovering a sense of purpose along the way.
Thanks, Kanika, for answering this one. These are the little nuggets that we, get to know from your experience. Very wonderfully answered. And the examples that you're giving from movies, etc., we can relate so much with them.
Exactly.
We can relate, suddenly it becomes very simple to understand what purpose is. Yeah.
Yeah, and those would be much better. Frankly, I think pieces from pop culture or examples from these books and movies that we can relate to. Frankly, I would set more store by them than the traditional self-help books, right? I'm not too sure whether they really, jiggle your soul, but these experiences will, and these will actually set you on the path of self-discovery.
Right. So one very good example on the self-discovery is Alchemist, which is, so well extensively read across the globe. That seems to be, one book which actually is one of the very simple examples of how a person can actually discover what he truly wants.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree with you.
So Kanika, you have worked with some of the biggest and most innovative brands in the corporate world. And it would be very interesting to know from your experience and the kind of work that you have done in the corporate world. How would you identify the role of innovation as a key driver of employer branding?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important. I think innovation, when it is done by the company, sends all the right signals. It's telling, a future employee that this company is invested in trying out new things. This company is bold. It's not afraid to take risks. And this company has a disruptive vision and strategy, and they have the right intent to change things for all the right reasons. So I think while innovation seems like a single word, but the kind of vibes that it sends out when done right are immense. And I think the key words that come to my mind when I think of innovation is that here is a company that's willing to disrupt and try new things. Here is a company that is bold and not afraid. And here is a company that is willing to look into the future, because innovation is not necessarily here and now. Innovation actually more often than not means the future, and it actually enables a more longer view of things. So the message that you're giving as an innovative company, and therefore as an employer brand, is that we have a long-term vision and we are not afraid to experiment. So I think innovation gives all the right vibes. And I remember during my Reebok days when we were repositioning from being one of the biggest sports brand that the country had ever seen to a more premium fitness brand, the challenge that we gave ourselves was that while we go through this repositioning exercise, how do we make sure that we do it in a way that is disruptive, it's memorable, and it's innovative? And I can tell you that because we were thinking big and we had that vision, we were able to very quickly align internal and external stakeholders and also rally our employees behind, whether they were folks who were already in the company or folks that we wanted to attract to the company, because we had laid out a vision, and that vision had innovation at its very core. So I would just say that I think it makes a huge difference. It creates a very positive vibe, and the employee also feels excited, right? Like you want to work with something which is coming across as so innovative and cool.
So Kanika, thank you so much, for answering this one. And you're absolutely right. Innovation plays a very important part, as a for employer branding, and it somehow ties to the purpose of the company as well. Because an organization that is very deeply rooted in innovation, it's somehow taken for it's somehow understood, by the employees also, that the company is does have a very deeper purpose
Yeah,
and deep
absolutely.
purpose and goals for its employees, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, interesting. So, Kanika, you are a woman leader who has made her mark in the corporate world. You're also a mother of two kids who is involved in meaningful initiatives, and you've set an example of exemplary leadership in the corporate world while strongly living your passion and purpose, the two things that drive you in your personal and professional life. So tell us, Kanika, about your initiatives and how you balance all these aspects of your life so well. So I think, that would in fact be a inspiration for so many other working women who want to achieve something in life. Yeah.
Right. I think Ekta, there fundamentally, I think I can say two things that really help me to balance my professional and personal lives, and also commit myself to some of my passion projects. One, I would say that I'm blessed in the sense that I'm an innate multitasker. So I can, and I'll be honest in saying that I'm really good at it also. So I'm, I have a structured way of thinking. I am fairly well organized, and I think, in fact, if I'm not multitasking, I'm getting bored. So there is this drive in me to do multiple things. Otherwise, internally, I don't feel that strong sense of satisfaction. So I feel the ability to multitask really helps me. And the second thing that I would say that makes a huge difference to, I think, any working mother would be the support that I have from my family. And here I will give a lot of credit to my mom. I think she's the single biggest reason why I'm able to do anything, why I'm able to put one step after another and even survive on a weekly basis when some days get really, really tough, is because of the support that she provides me. And I'm not just talking like physical support or, being there and helping me take care of my kids. No, not at all. In fact, she stays in a different city altogether. But the kind of emotional support that she's able to provide me, the guidance, the the philosophical interventions whenever something is going wrong, and just her friendship and her support is actually makes a huge difference. And my belief is that if you have even one person rooting in your corner and being your cheerleader throughout your life, you can achieve anything that you want. So I would say the support of my family, particularly my mother, and a God-given ability to multitask are perhaps the two reasons why I'm able to do some of the things that you mentioned. And I'm also, I would say I'm humble and hungry. So I, even as I hear you talk about these things, I still feel like I can do more. So that sense of hunger is there, and I just want to sort of, keep digging at it till I can go back to sleep at night thinking that, oh, I had an amazing day and I checked all the boxes. So because that hunger remains is the reason why also I'm able to sort of keep at it.
Thank you so much, Kanika. Answered it so simply. And like you mentioned, you're humble. I think this answer actually shows that you're actually humble. So, because many people want to do a lot of things, but we are always complaining that we don't have time, we are too busy. But you are busy and still you are doing so much in life. So I think, yeah, thanks to your multitasking ability, but I think that purpose that we spoke about a while back, I think that purpose is very deep and that passion is very deep in you, which makes you, strive and do and achieve so many things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kanika. Thank you for such a beautiful conversation that we had today. Thanks for being a part of Point of View and sharing your insights and views and your ideas that come from your immense experience with us. I'm sure our viewers are going to really love this conversation and gain a lot from this. Thank you so much once again for being a part of Point of View. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Ekta. It was a real pleasure speaking to you. And I think the kind of questions you asked, it became a very candid conversation. So I hope that your viewers enjoy it as much as we enjoyed speaking with each other.
Right. Thank you so much, Kanika. Thank you.